On a quiet night, when the whole neighborhood was slowly falling asleep, Jennifer sat on her bed beside the window and watched the sky. The curtain moved gently in the cool breeze, and moonlight spilled across her room in a silver glow. Jennifer loved looking at the stars before bed. She always felt that the sky was alive somehow, as if it were holding secrets too beautiful and too old for daylight. But this night felt different from the very beginning. As she stared upward, she heard something so faint she almost thought she imagined it. A whisper, then another, then many together. They were not coming from the hallway or the house or the wind. They were coming from outside her window, from the stars.
Jennifer pulled her blanket a little higher and looked around her room. The door was closed. The house was silent. No footsteps, no voices. Yet the whisper returned, clearer now, like tiny distant voices calling through the dark. Jennifer swallowed and asked softly, "Who's there?" At once, a bright star above the roof flashed once, then twice, and a thread of silver light slipped through her window and hovered in the air in front of her. This time, she understood the whisper. "Jennifer, look up. Time is running out."
She slowly climbed out of bed and walked toward the window, barefoot on the cold floorboards. The sky stretched wide above the sleeping houses, filled with stars so sharp and bright that they looked close enough to touch. But in one far corner of the sky, something was wrong. A dark cloud was moving there, except it was darker than any ordinary cloud, darker than rain, darker than the night itself. It drifted against the wind, stretching outward like a living thing, and wherever it passed, the stars dimmed. One by one, they faded, as if someone were gently blowing them out. Jennifer whispered, "What is that?" And the stars answered together, "The cloud of forgetting. If it reaches the lost constellation, it will erase it forever."
Jennifer turned quickly when she noticed something on her bookshelf that had not been there before. A small, round box, midnight blue, covered in tiny silver star patterns that shimmered as if they had been drawn with moonlight. She lifted the lid carefully. Inside lay a silver chain with a crystal star hanging from it. The moment she touched it, her room filled with a soft, pale glow. Light spread across the walls, and above her bed appeared a map of the sky made from moving points of starlight. Lines connected some of them, sketching the shape of an ancient constellation, but part of it was missing, as if time itself had rubbed out its center.
The whispering stars spoke again. Every constellation has a name. Every name holds a memory. Every memory has a guardian, but this one was forgotten. Jennifer held the crystal star in front of her face, and suddenly she could see the broken shape more clearly. It looked like a bird made of light, with wide wings and a long glowing tail. Even broken, it was beautiful. Even half erased, it seemed to be fighting to remain in the sky. Jennifer asked, "What is its name?" The stars fell silent for a moment. Then they answered, "That is the secret you must find before dawn."
Before she even realized it, Jennifer had left her room and was climbing the stairs toward the rooftop. The whole house was asleep. The silence felt deep and heavy, and she could hear her own breathing with every step. As she pushed open the roof door, the cold night air wrapped around her. The sky above looked larger from up there, almost close enough to lean into. The dark cloud had grown. It was spreading slowly but steadily toward the broken constellation. Then, from deep inside the cloud, two pale eyes opened. They had no face around them, no shape, no kindness. They were only emptiness staring back at her.
Jennifer stepped back, but the crystal star in her hand grew warm, as if reminding her not to be afraid. The whispering star said, "Do not look at the darkness. Look at the light that still remains." So Jennifer forced herself to look away from the creature cloud and toward the stars that were still shining. One above the water tank, one over the antenna, one above the tallest tree at the end of the street. Suddenly, she understood. They were not only shining, they were pointing, making a path across the sky, a path that could restore the missing shape.
Jennifer lifted the crystal star and aimed it toward the first bright point. Instantly, a thread of silver light stretched from the crystal to the star. She turned to the second point, then the third, another line, and another. Slowly, carefully, she began redrawing the constellation across the sky. But each time she came close to completing it, the dark cloud sent a wave of shadow sweeping forward, breaking one of the silver threads. It understood what she was doing. It was trying to stop her. "Why does it want to erase it?" Jennifer cried. The stars answered, "Because this constellation protects something that must never be forgotten."
What does it protect? Jennifer asked, breathing hard. At that moment, the crystal star in her hand opened like a flower made of light, and inside it she saw visions. A girl from long ago standing alone on a mountain, frightened in the dark, until the bird-shaped constellation appeared and gave her the courage to keep walking. A sailor lost at sea beneath black clouds, finding his way home because the same constellation shone through the storm. A lonely little boy staring from a window, believing no one saw him, until the glowing wings formed in the sky and reminded him that even unseen hearts are still held in the light. Jennifer whispered, "It's a constellation of hope."
The stars brightened, as if agreeing with her. Yes, but over time, people forgot its true name. Fear grew, silence grew. Forgetting fed the cloud. Jennifer looked again at the creature in the sky and finally saw what it truly was. It was not only darkness, it was made from lost promises, abandoned dreams, and beautiful things that people had stopped remembering. Every time hope was ignored, the cloud grew stronger. Every time something kind was forgotten, it spread wider. Jennifer realized then that this was not a battle of force, not speed, not shouting. It was a battle of memory, of naming, of refusing to let light disappear simply because the world had stopped speaking of it.
Jennifer stood in the middle of the rooftop and closed her eyes. She remembered every night she had looked up at the stars from her window, every small wish she had ever whispered into the dark, every moment she had been scared and still hoped for a sign. She remembered that even when the world below felt heavy, there had always been at least one tiny star still shining. When she opened her eyes again, she said clearly, "I won't let you erase it." The cloud shivered and the pale eyes narrowed. The whole night seemed to go still, waiting for the next word.
The crystal around Jennifer began to spin on its own. Letters made of light rose into the air and circled around her. They were not from one language. They felt older than language, as if they were made from every wish ever spoken beneath the sky. One letter faded, another glowed brighter. Then they drifted together and formed a single word in front of her. The moment she saw it, a calm certainty filled her chest, as though she had always known it somewhere deep inside. She spoke it out loud. Astera. The instant the name left her lips, the heavens trembled with light.
Every broken silver thread snapped back into place. The lost constellation blazed to life above the city, a great starbird with open wings and a sweeping silver tail. It was so beautiful that Jennifer forgot her fear for one breathtaking second. But the dark cloud let out a silent scream and lunged forward, spreading wide in one last attempt to swallow the constellation whole. Jennifer lifted the crystal star high and shouted, "Everyone who saw your light remembers you. Everyone who was lost found their way because of you. Everyone who was afraid was comforted by you. You are not forgotten."
Her words rang out across the rooftop, but they didn't sound like her own voice alone. It was as if the stars themselves were speaking through her. Each word turned into a bright feather of light and flew toward the cloud. The first feather pierced it. The second made it tremble. The third split part of it into drifting gray mist. Then the whole creature began to retreat, not because it had been struck down by violence, but because it could not survive in the presence of something remembered, a true name restored, a hope returned, a sky refusing to forget.
After a few moments, the darkness was gone. The sky above the town became clear in a way Jennifer had never seen before. Astera still shone there, bright and whole, but now it felt closer somehow, gentle and watchful, as though it had lowered one wing over her home. Then, from its glowing center, a tiny point of light drifted downward through the air until it hovered right in front of her. It was no bigger than a fingernail, but its warmth felt endless. The whispering star said, "The secret hidden in the sky was never a treasure chest, nor a door, nor a power to be owned. The secret is this: light does not truly disappear as long as someone remembers it."
Jennifer opened her hand and the tiny star settled in her palm before dissolving into the crystal on her necklace. At once, the crystal glowed more softly and more deeply than before, as though a piece of the night sky now lived inside it. "Will you speak to me again?" she asked. The stars answered gently. "Whenever the world forgets to look up, we will whisper. Whenever someone feels alone, we will shine. But tonight, Jennifer, you are the guardian." Jennifer looked up at Astera and smiled, small but proud.
She returned to her room just minutes before dawn. Everything looked ordinary again. The curtains, the bed, the quiet moonlight on the floor. Yet it had not been a dream. The silver necklace still rested in her hand, and inside the crystal star, a tiny light glowed with a living softness. Jennifer placed it beside her pillow and slipped beneath the blanket. Through the window, she could still see Astera shining high above, steady and gentle, guarding the night. She knew then that many things in life might fade if nobody speaks their names, but hope, once remembered, can shine again.
And from that night on, whenever Jennifer heard the breeze at her window, she smiled instead of feeling afraid, because she knew that not every whisper comes to frighten. Some whispers come to guide. Some come to remind us to lift our eyes when the world feels too dark. And above every sleeping house, above every heart that feels small or lonely, there may still be a star waiting for someone to remember its name. As for the dark cloud, it was not gone forever. It always tries to return when people stop believing in light. But as long as someone dares to look up, as long as someone remembers that even the smallest glow can stand against the deepest shadow, Astera will remain in the sky, and Jennifer will keep hearing the whispering stars before she falls asleep.